Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to confront an unfortunate reality. There have been plenty of people that have been pointing this out already, some screaming about it a lot more than others. But since we are the newer generation and we have to confront the big issues head on, in order to prove to past generations that we're able to handle the hard-hitting topics, I think it's about time that we hit this one head on. Because how else are we going to be able to prove to future generations and generations before us that we can handle serious issues like this if we can't even address this one issue? We are severely behind as a generation, and in order to progress into the future, we have to admit this hard-hitting truth. And the fact of the matter is, Thanksgiving fucking sucks. See what I did? You see what I did to the boomers? You see what I did? I reeled them in, right? I brought them on a little journey. I'm like, come here. I led them astray like the Pied Piper, and then I hit them with the... It is like 9 o'clock. Some of my neighbors are going to bed right now. Now, I could stand here and talk your ear off about the cultural implications that come with celebrating the genocide of many indigenous cultures by sitting and eating a turkey at the dinner table around your family. But you know what? Some people still like this holiday. Some people really still do appreciate Thanksgiving. And I'm not here to make fun of those people. I'm only here to say... we skip right to Christmas for a reason. Look, some people still like this holiday because they think it's a good excuse to get together with family and sit at a dinner table and eat some good food. But let's be honest with ourselves, Thanksgiving food is fucking garbage. Like, it's overrated as fuck, honestly. Like, the only good Thanksgiving food that I can possibly think of is maybe the ham, and that shit comes from Christmas. We literally took Christmas ham and just put it into Thanksgiving because turkey was not enough for some people, because turkey is fucking disgusting. Okay, this video is starting off a little harsh. Harsher than I thought it would be. I don't care, I'm leaving it in. Now, for Thanksgiving, considering that it's a holiday that I'm going to be celebrating with my family, I didn't want to make a giant edited project this week, but I still wanted to at least make something, and at least make something that's at least a little bit relevant for the holidays. So we'll have 2 different types of videos that is going to be coming out around this time. 2 different, like, Thanksgiving themed videos for November before we hit into December. This is one of those videos, and it's a cooking video. The last time we decided to cook together was when we were in quarantine, and I was a psychopath. I can tell you since quarantine, nothing has changed. I'm still a psycho. I just don't wear a bunny suit anymore. But even though I hate Thanksgiving food, what kind of food could I possibly make that I would actually appreciate? It's a good old American classic that I don't think can even get ruined by cultural implications and dark history. The good old American apple pie. We're also making cherry pie too because I have way too many ingredients. Way more than I thought I would actually. Also, did you know that you could have watched this video like a day before? If you had supported me on Patreon, you would have. You should go do that right now. So for the apple pie recipe, I'm going to be taking a couple of TikToks that I found and kind of combining them. These are the 2 TikToks that I'm going to be using as a reference. If anyone wants to check out these creators, go ahead and do so. But watch this video first because I don't want to lose your attention right away. Let me show you the ingredients list and then we'll get started. As a clarification, these are all the ingredients that we're going to be using to make the filling for apple pie. We're going to be making the apple pie first, and then we're going to move on to making some cherry pies. Here's the ingredients list to make our filling for our apple pies. 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of brown sugar, 2.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons. Now I know what you might be thinking, dear viewer, but lazy, with all of these ingredients set out with the perfect measurements, you seem to be missing something for your apple pie. Where are your apples? And all I have to say to that is, I always come prepared! Never question me again, you coward! Those bowls are fucking heavy. These glass bowls? So, we have 2 different types of apples that we're going to be working with for our apple pie. We have Honey Crisp and Granny Smith. I encourage you viewers, use 2 different types of apple. Don't just stick to one type of apple. And yes, believe it or not, there are different types of apples. I didn't learn that until today. Using 2 different types of apples in your apple pie are going to give you a variety of textures and flavors. So I encourage you, dear viewer, don't just choose one or the other. Use both. It doesn't hurt to try both. I admit that Granny Smiths are not my favorite types of apples, and I prefer Honey Crisp over any different type of apple because it just tastes so juicy and good. But today we are going to experiment. Wow, would you look at me? I'm a Twilight cover. Now, I'm doing this very last minute, right? Because Thanksgiving is literally tomorrow. And I am deciding literally right here, right now, that I'm going to bring a pie for Thanksgiving at this moment at 9 o'clock at night. And usually if I were going to do this in advance, I would do some research and experiment on how to make my own cherry filling. But because I am doing this last minute, I'm just going to stick with the cans prepped and ready to go for my stupid baby brain. For this apple pie recipe, though, I am putting my whole pussy into it. What? I have my 2 sets of apples prepared, and the first thing we're going to do is peel off all of their skin and chop them up into bite-sized pieces. If the context was any different, this would be a horror movie, not a cooking show. I could theoretically use this here gigantic knife to cut the cores perfectly out of these apples and then serve them to you nicely chopped by my own hands. But because I suck at that, and we're not gonna do that, I'm gonna use tools that were made for my baby brain. This is an apple cutter. You use this to cut apples into perfect symmetrical pieces. And if again we were talking theoretically, I could still use this knife to maybe carve the skin off of these precious apples and you hear them scream under the tip of my knife. But again, since I'm stupid, we're just gonna use a potato peeler. Now that you have skinned your apple and cut them into Happy Meal sized pieces, do that for the rest of your apples for nearly an hour. It's time to use that knife I was so excited about. You are going to then cut them into cubes. Well, I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, now that quite a bit of apples, which is good because we're gonna make a whole lot of apple pie. And if you think I'm joking, I got like 2 pie dishes right here. I also have a couple of cake dishes that I can make some apple pie in. With these, we're gonna be making a lot of pie. So now that we got a bowl full of apples, it's time to turn over to the spice rack and we're gonna get these all seasoned up. From here, we're gonna take both of our sugars, our cinnamon, our nutmeg, and a pinch of salt. Make sure when you're adding in all your spices too that you get your grubby little hands in there. Swish that shit around so it gets all coated evenly. Don't be afraid. Touch it. Just make sure you wash your hands. Stick of butter. And now we're slowly gonna introduce the apples. That hasn't been much, but we'll make it work. So now this might be the part where some of you might think that I am crazy and I'm just adding shit just to add shit, but trust me, I am basing this off of what this creator has shown. I have some leftover apple cider. Fucking love apple cider. We're gonna take some of this, and then we're gonna put some cornstarch in it. Now, from what I understand about this, if you use this, it's basically gonna give your apple pie that like crispy apple-y flavor, which is kind of what I wanna go for. And apparently this creator says that this method helps, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm up for trying something new. How about you? I really gotta say though, it smells fucking divine in here. So let's go ahead and add our vanilla extract. Egg extract, extra. And we're gonna mix this shit around for about like 6 to 7 minutes or until these are nice and squishy. And to make sure this all thickens, we're gonna add some flour too.
That's what good pussy sounds like.
Oh, that is looking good, and it smells really nice. So now that the apple filling is all done, we're just gonna go ahead and put it in this bowl, and then we're gonna pick this shit back up tomorrow. Whoa! Transition into me looking uglier than usual. Isn't that funny? It is currently the next day. Merry Thanksgiving to everybody, but we are also inclusive on this channel, so if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, well, then Thursday. Anyone else an Una's Honest fan? Anyone else still crying after 2 years? So, let's talk about, pie crust for a second. See, I didn't read on the packaging that there was 2 crusts per package. Oh, hey, look at this. Look who it is. Hi, you wanna be a surprise guest? Come here, Bubba's. Oh, yes, he does. Come here, Bubba's. It's Melly! Hi, Mel! Oh, he's struggling. He doesn't like it. Okay. So, theoretically, because I have so much pies, logically, it would make sense for me to use all of them, but I'm not going to. I am only going to make about, like, 4, so, like, 2 apple pies and 2 cherry pies, right? Cool. Now, obviously, I could just slap these crusts together and just call it a day, cut a little pea into it, and then just tickle the fancy a little. But how do you put this? I make my life harder than it has to be most of the time. Yeah, I'm a little over the top, so I'm not gonna just slap them together. I'm gonna braid them and weave them like a basket. So, without further ado, Let's talk about pie crust.
On my knob, corn in the car, check in.
The thing about pie crust is that pie crafting and pie weaving is in fact an art in and of itself. Not saying that the traditional apple pie with just the two crusts slammed together isn't exactly art, but it's just more aesthetically pleasing when your food looks like this and not this. Which one of these do you want to eat? Obviously, you know which one. We're gonna start by cutting our pies into little strips. Now, usually most will use a ruler to make sure that each of the pie strips are about the same length. I'm gonna use a Cards Against Humanity box. And all you need to do to cut it is just use a fucking pizza roller if you have one. If not, you can just probably use a knife or something. Now, for reference for how we're going to weave this, in case anybody doesn't exactly know how to weave baskets, therefore is not gonna know how to weave a pie, it's basically going to be every other piece that gets flipped over. So right now I have 5 pieces here, so I'm going to do 3 first and lift them, while the other 2 stay down. 3 pieces right here to lift up like so. And then we're going to basically slide a piece underneath, and then flop those back over. And this is just the practice round, just so you can get the idea of how to weave. These next 2 we're just going to flop over like this. And it's going to go right there. And basically repeat this process doing the 3-2 method. So we're going to do these 3. Next, flop those over. And it should look a little something like this. Make sure you know where your curves are. I kept my curve ends on the side so that I know where to place them. So I just kind of separated them for everywhere else so that I know where they'll go when I place them down. Since again, I overdo myself, I want to add a little something to this weave. So we're going to separate all these, and I'm going to take this piece and this piece out. Okay, I got the 2 pieces that I wanted, and here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to cut it into thirds. And then we're going to take these thirds, and we're going to braid it. For those of you who don't know how to braid, don't worry, I didn't learn either. Basically, you're just going to take all of these pieces and make sure they all come into the middle. So this middle piece right here is eventually going to swoop to the left. Well, this one swoops in the middle. Hold on. The same with this one. As this swoops over to the right, this one's gonna come in like this. And it's basically gonna keep going back and forth. I'll leave a better tutorial on how to do it. There's a TikToker that has better tutorials on how to do specific braids. I'll probably just leave her example right here.
I'm gonna do 3-strand braids today. There's 3 of them, classic, reverse, and 3D. You have yellow, orange, and red. 3-strand classic is simply going into the middle from above. So yellow's gonna go in the middle from above. Red is gonna go in the middle from above. Most of you already know this braid. This one is the most popular one. Into the middle from above.
Nice.
Now that these are at room temperature, we're gonna lay it right across the top. There we go. And to flatten it inward, I'm just gonna use a measuring cup and kind of rotate it around so that it fits all the way inside. So right now, I'm reheating the apple pie filling, so we're instead just going to go ahead and do a trial run with the cherry pie filling instead. Right out of the can. We're going to flatten that baby, make sure it's all spread evenly, and then we're going to do that weaving technique I just talked about. We're going to make sure we have our braids ready on the side so that we can place them wherever we want on the pie. Oh shit, I was supposed to, hold on. Trying to make this cross-stitch pie. There we go. It's perfect. Hey, at least, it might not look perfect. It might look a little derpy, but at least my family will appreciate the time and effort I put in it, and then maybe they might think it's kind of cute. All right? And that's the only thing that matters. I've seen this trick on TikTok. It's all you do basically to get rid of the excess is literally just pound it with a rolling pin, and it should just come off. Oh shit. That worked out shockingly better than I thought it would. We're gonna top this off with our makeshift egg wash that Alexa taught us how to make. Thank you, Alexa. She's not listening to me. What an ungrateful bitch. Pass the cranberry sauce for mashed potatoes. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being there. Now to top this whole thing off, I'm gonna do something a little special. I'm gonna add this decorative edible white sugar, cause I can. I would hope that this thing would have had a shaker to it, but I guess it doesn't. I guess we're just gonna do a pinch of it. It looks beautiful. Now we're gonna take it into the oven.
Let's do that again!
which I am conveniently making inside of a cake tin and not a pie pan, which I feel like changes the meaning of the food, but whatever. So as you can see, I am filling up that crust with that warm apple filling that I had reheating on my stove, and I'm just gonna take these slits and I'm cutting them a little smaller than I did, mainly because this pie is in a smaller cake tin and it is significantly smaller. And I ended up using like most of the crust, so I only ended up really making one apple pie, which I was shocked by because I thought I would have enough to make two, but this is what the final product looks like.
Look at that shit. That's the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Paint that shit on.
Let's check up on that.
Oh, mama! So the instructions for an apple pie are going to be a bit different because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be reducing the heat a lot. For 15 minutes, you're going to place this thing in at 425, which is what this is at right now. And then after that, what you're going to do is you're going to reduce the heat to 400, and then it's going to stay in there for 45 minutes.
And always remember to use heat protection.
Second timer, 15 minutes, starting now.
Okay, I gotta clean up and I gotta get ready to leave, so I gotta speed this process. Hold on. Oh, yeah, baby. Now that, my friends, is what I call perfection.
And that, my friends, is how you make a nice looking cherry pie.
And I think they turned out absolutely gorgeous. I love the little bow details that I did. And although the weaving and the braiding was incredibly hard, I think they both turned out incredibly well done. One thing I think I would have done differently is probably not use this pie dish because it turned out really squishing the pie, and as you can see, it's really overfilling, but I really loved how this main one came out. And this is how the apple pie turned out, and obviously it's a little squished because it's not in a real pie dish, and obviously it's spewing out all over, but you can still see the details, and I think it turned out really, really cute, all things considered. This is what it looked like when it was at my Thanksgiving dinner at my family's house, and this is what it looks like on a plate.
Now, if you thought for just a minute that that was where the video was going to end, I'm not gonna cock block you like that. I'm going to eat these pies because I'm a woman of my word. If I didn't think it was gonna taste good, and if I didn't think it looked good, I wouldn't be putting it in my mouth. But before we dive in, I just want to say thank you all for watching. I understand that this is my typical content. I understand that you guys are looking forward to the more commentary-esque videos, and we're gonna get back to those. I just thought that this would be a fun project to practice my editing skills and my new equipment around the kitchen. And plus, I'm sure this video will probably help someone make a pie because, believe it or not, this was incredibly easy to do. And cooking for me can be really intimidating sometimes, especially since now I have to feed myself as an adult. But as soon as you overcome the hurdle of feeding yourself does not have to equate to burning your house down, you're gonna have a lot of fun making recipes you didn't think you could until now. So welcome to the mukbang section of the video where I try my apple and my cherry pies. And I'm doing it with separate forks because one, we do not double dip in this house. Why do you think I'm gonna use the same fucking fork? And we already topped these pies off with Reddi-wip because, let's be honest, it's the best part. It's more fun. And go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Get some engagement on this video because I certainly like to see your guys' engagement. Helps me out in the algorithm. Helps me see you guys. Helps me interact. Without further ado, let's eat a pie. Hot. Oh, I cooked this so hot. Okay, so after getting over burning my tongue, I think it honestly tastes delicious. Now, I prefer apple pie over cherry pie, so obviously I'm going to be biased in eating this, but for first impression, it's really good. Go ahead and try with the cherry pie. I know I'm biased, and I know I said that I'd prefer apple over cherry, but I will eat a cherry pie, because I'm an American. Not as hot with this one. Okay, final verdict. Both of these are really good. Pies are pretty filling, so I expected that much. But man, I did not expect those to fill me as quickly as they did. I know that I'm biased and I'm judging my own recipes, but if I'm gonna be completely honest with myself and my audience, I'm gonna give the cherry pie recipe like a 7.5 out of 10. It's pretty basic. I use like Meyer brand stuff, so it's not gonna taste like amazing. I got some feedback though from my grandmother who really seemed to have liked it. So maybe I made Meyer brand taste better than I ever expected it to be. I may be underestimating myself, I don't know. This pie recipe that I just combined two separate recipes from TikTok from, this one's like a solid 9 out of 10. It's so good. My only issue with it is that the weaving kind of made everything kind of spill out, and it's not really well put together because I made it in like a cake tin and not an actual pie tin. It's probably because I didn't really like pinch the edges of it very well. I don't think I did it in the tutorial either. So make sure that you pinch your edges. I'm telling you that now at the end. Oops. And if I can get some like vanilla ice cream on top, this would be a solid 10 out of 10. Like, easily. The apple cider trick to make it taste more appley, that fucking worked. It worked and it tastes delicious. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving, even though I'm not a big fan. I hope that you guys who are fans had a wonderful time. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying. And I hope that this was at least tolerable. I don't know how the audio is going to be in editing. It probably ass, but you know what? We made it work. And I'll see you guys in the next one. But that was not the worst YouTube outro in my life. I don't know what the fuck it is. Goodbye.